Hello, and welcome to the Off-Meta Umineko Read-Along podcast, the semi-weekly podcast where I guide my friends and first-time readers through my favorite story of all time, the highly acclaimed murder mystery visual novel Umineko and They Cry. We'll be discussing its narrative and themes, and they'll work together with our community to try and solve its various mysteries. Hope you'll join us in this exciting journey as we delve into the witch's cat box. I'm Kyle J, and joining me on a one-way trip to Rokkenjiima, we have our readers, James Capelli, Ben, and Hayley. Welcome, y'all. So, how was your read this week?
This was everything that I wanted. This was killing. This was red truths. This was blue truths. It was great. Everything that I want in Umineko, right here, baby.
Yeah, it feels like we're firmly settled into, like, this is what Umineko is about. It's what it's meant to be.
Which is a real shame. I did enjoy this read, but I found some of it. I don't even know what to say or how to say this, because I know that this is a lot of what people love about Umineko, but I find the fight scenes just really boring.
You mean the red and the blue fight scenes?
And the red and the blue fight scenes, I find the killings really boring, and the descriptions of the fight, of like what they're doing, and like I don't know. I'm here for the interpersonal relationships. I don't care whose sword does what.
But those relationships are expressed through the fight scenes.
How many descriptions of furrowed brows does Hayley really need?
0. I have a pretty good furrow in my own brow. Like, I know.
Well, there's your interpersonal relationships. It's a parasocial one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I did enjoy this read overall, for sure. I think there's a lot in here, but there were certainly elements of it that I fought through and fell asleep a few times, and Adam videoed me bopping along to some of the music, which was not my finest, most graceful moment.
No, the music was so good.
Yeah, this one, in terms of summarizing it, the summary on this one's pretty long, because we're getting to the part of the story where just, like, it's so dense now. Everything that's talked about has, like, hundreds of hours of backstory you have to understand to, like, what they're talking about. Like, for example, like the scene with Rosa in the parlor. She says 3 lines, and I'm like, that's an entire paragraph explaining what she's talking about here. So it's a lot.
Yeah, actually, you're right. There's a lot that's not said in this that is you only know because you've spent 100 hours already reading.
I think they do a really good job of condensing a lot of, like, really important backstory. Like you said, like, Rosa in a couple of lines just really summarizes a lot of the backstory between her and Maria's father, which I think is just really good, and we're finally getting something more to it, but it doesn't have to be like this whole long exposition on it. Like, they go in.
They're really trusting the readers to fill in the blanks based on what we already know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really good. I think that they're kind of not extending the endings. Like, when you read, like, different books, you'll see, like, the first book is, like, short, and then the second book's a little longer, and then it slowly gets longer as they need more and more time to explain, and it doesn't feel like the author is doing that. They're trying to keep them all around the same length.
Yeah, like, I read a fair bit of books that are, like, in a series. I don't read many books that are one and done, because those things just don't tend to exist in fantasy anymore, or sci-fi. And each time a book comes out, like, it's still important to recap things that happened in previous entries when it's relevant, and it can kind of go on and on. Like, I have to kind of re-summarize my magic system every time, etc., etc. And with Umineko, there is a little bit of that. Like, you know, with the adults, they'll talk about their financial struggles or their financial struggles, mostly poor decisions, why they need a lot of money right now, without having to make it a big, long thing. But they don't do it as much as you would expect for a story of this length, which is very much to its benefit.
Yeah, definitely. I hate that when I have to do that in books. It's like, okay, like, I get it. I'm reading a series now that all the books are out, but I guess there was a couple years in between them. And so I'm on the 3rd one, and I've just started the 3rd one the other day. And it's like, I don't need this whole chapter summarizing what happened in the last 2 books. Thanks.
Like we're watching an anime that's been out for a while. And I don't care about the recap episode. I just watched 10 episodes. I know what happened.
Yes, exactly.
Ryan skips those all of the time. Like every time, even if I just want to watch it because it's just on in the background as I'm like getting my food ready, he's like, no, skip it. And I'm like, so I'm curious to know what they find important, which I think can be interesting. It's like they are including specific things and excluding specific things that they find very important that could have to do with this episode. But I also get like just wanting to go right into it and not necessarily knowing what's important.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about like broadcast television, a lot of times the like previously on segments are added just to fill time. Like they're not really necessary. They're like, well, we have to fill like an extra like minute here, so we'll do a previously on.
TV shows that really bugs me to do it every episode because like with Lost, it'll be like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna go with this now. Or Game of Thrones was definitely a big culprit of that. However, the Game of Thrones did have one of the best gotchas with that where spoilers for the show that ended terribly, where they recap like, oh, remember John's uncle? Okay, we're mentioning that for no particular reason. And then they use that as the reason to pull John out before he gets betrayed and stuff. And it's just like, oh, we don't know a shit about his uncle this episode. It was all a ploy.
It was a ruse. All right, yes. So let's get to it. We've got a lot of summary to get through, as I said. This week, we read about 3 hours of the VN, ending on the line, think and fight to the death. Please decide who the sacrifice will be. After that, there is a shattering of glass. That is videos 103 and 104 of the YouTube playlist. If you've not caught up to that point yet, go ahead and stop the podcast and catch up before joining us, or if you're just listening to us along for the ride. Welcome aboard. Our story resumes in the parlor. With a break having been called in the family conference, everyone is split up to get some time alone. Rosa, knowing that no one else would think to go to the parlor, has the whole comfortable room to herself. As the youngest of the adult siblings, and with a sizable age gap to boot, Rosa's opinion is often ignored in these kinds of conversations. However, because of that separation and perceived powerlessness, she often gets brought in as a sort of neutral party to adjudicate for the other 3 siblings' arguments. Rosa is hoping to be able to use that small bit of power to direct the discussion in a way that will help her to achieve her own goals, paying off the 100 million yen debt she took on when attempting to support Maria's father's ambitions so long ago. While she likes to think of herself as not being so foolish as to still believe he'll come back to her if she manages to pay off that debt, she does lament that he hasn't even come to see Maria even once. Rosa's contemplation is interrupted, though, by the sudden appearance of Kanon, who commiserates with her about the pain of holding on to love. Rosa is startled, not only by Kanon's sudden ability to sneak up on her, but also by how he seemed to know so much about her financial and love situations. When Maria's father had asked Rosa to co-sign a loan with her, Rosa had agreed, thoroughly believing that their marriage was imminent. But that ended up not being the case. Instead, Rosa was left to raise Maria all alone, and saddled with a massive debt on top of it. While she does understand that she had likely been swindled, her heart can't fully let go until that debt that she had internalized as a trial of love was repaid. To Rosa, Kyrie was someone to look up to. She had remained steadfast, and her hell had finally ended after just 18 years. Having only experienced half that time, how could she possibly complain? But for Rosa, 9 more years of hell wasn't going to magically bring her love back. No, she was nothing more than a ghost who had died the day she'd given up fighting for her love, foolishly thinking that she was instead being brave. In the meta layer, Zepar and Furfur and the other contestants watch on and agree that in a battle of love, it's better to fight and to die than to live on carrying the rotting seed of love in your heart, for that is the most torturous toxin in existence, for both humans and witches alike. Chick Beatrice understands that she must either kill that seed of love for Battler in her own heart, or make it bud, but to let it rot would surely torment her for all eternity.
So are we supposed to sympathize with Rosa now with this knowledge of her making a bad decision over a boyfriend? Like, it sounds like they weren't even engaged. I don't really know how it works or worked or whatever the traditions were. But
she says like she hadn't moved into his family register yet. And I know that's like how it's phrased a lot, but I don't know exactly how official that stage is versus the other stages before and after that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a betrothal at the very least if you're getting added to somebody's register, like a done deal, more or less, even if the marriage itself it hasn't taken place yet.
Yeah, the family register, I would assume, is like the official legal part of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's my understanding, at least.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know, man. I'm like, there's no excuse for treating her kid the way that she has. I just don't, like, it's not Maria's fault that she's living the consequences of her shitty decisions. Like, what the fuck, buddy? Why are you so bad with money as well?
I figured out why we have kind of waffled on the other, I think just the moms, really. The dads have all been pretty consistent in the audience perception of them. And that a lot of that is their interactions with their partners, right? Like Rudolf is very much like supposed to be a womanizer. And while he doesn't do anything creepy or anything in the story. And the way he carries himself is a lot of, oh yeah, I could see that. But then you see how he interacts with Kyrie, and it's like, oh okay, yeah, I get their relationship, I get their dynamic. Same thing with Eva. Oh, she can be real strict, real stringent. I can definitely tangibly get her relationship with her siblings and her father, and then her relationship with Hideyoshi. I could see how those people ended up together. I could see how they're good for each other. Natsuhi and Kraus could use a little bit more work on that. It sounds like Natsuhi could have very much gone the way that Rosa did if Kraus didn't really want to, stay in that relationship, but he did, and I kind of see how they work a little bit. We honestly need more Kraus, which I think we're going to get in this episode. But then Rosa, we just see as, what's the term? Like, disregarded, thrown away, abandoned. And it's very sad to see her be unable to let go of it. And then I think a bit, I think about like the theory we had with the incest thing, but this clearly disputes all of it. I guess we don't know this person. We don't know who the father is, which I guess could be the last twist that we could get there. But
there could be a twist. I don't think that there is. Personally, just think that it's going to be like some guy. But also, I never doubt this author for putting in a character in episode 7 or 8 that is actually super important, that will tie everything together. So we'll see.
That man, Amakusa.
I wish. I did run across a very minor spoiler. I saw a screenshot for the fighting game, and Ange was fighting somebody who I didn't recognize, and I glanced at the name and was like, don't know who that is. Not looking back at the character art. So I'm assuming it's somebody who comes in next episode.
Yeah, we've still got some new people coming.
For you, Kyle, for everybody who knows the story, it starts with a W.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Stop bringing in new characters. We have so many. And so many of them don't matter.
Next episode's the last episode we're getting anybody new, so.
Maybe.
Are we sure about that?
Kyle's confirmed that episode 8 will not have new characters.
I don't think there are any, but I'd have to remember. Well,
I don't feel like he's properly confirmed.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, I kind of said that, but I don't remember for sure. I wouldn't bet on it.
The only real twist I could see with Maria's father would be something like, it's a rival family. Kind of like how Kyrie has that a little bit. Yeah. So, little things. I don't think it would be like a big, it's actually the baby and who time traveled, and I don't think it's going to be anything dumb like that. I do like your point here at the end of your notes, Hayley, which is, why are they all bad with money? Which is very funny. It's just very true.
Who makes that decision? Like, they have so much money. How?
Isn't Eva good with money? Isn't she? She and Hideyoshi are good with money.
Yeah, but they got into a trouble with their stock for their company. Yeah.
I suppose they're probably the best with money, other than, I assume, Kinzo. But maybe that's all under Beatrice's guidance that he's like.
Kinzo doesn't really exist, so.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe Kinzo used to be good with money.
I mean, that's how they've hidden all this gold that we've barely talked about in this episode. So they mention it once in this reading about the epitaph whenever they're near the end, and I'm sure we can talk about it more there. But like, other than that, there's been no talk about the epitaph. There's been really no talk about finding the gold, because there's been no letter, unlike the previous games, from Beatrice that is saying, go solve the epitaph for it to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even having the pieces on the board talk about the portrait or anything.
Yeah. The one person that sees Beatrice doesn't even recognize who she is, which is Natsuhi in the room.
Yeah. Takes her a minute, right, to connect the dots.
Which I think kind of confirms how things change between episodes.
I mean, I think we're getting a lot of info about the board, and I'm sure we'll get into that soon. Especially near the end, I think we need to talk about setup of boards and what it means to be the game master versus the player. That's really interesting to me.
Yeah, there's some interesting things happening in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm interested to talk about it.
We had some narrator shifts, even just throughout this bit of reading. I noticed that there was a point where I think we shifted from, I don't know if it was like us or to whoever it was, we definitely shifted to it being Erica at one point. And then I think it shifted back again or to somebody else. I don't know. That's always interesting. Like, whose viewpoint is this? Like, because I think I initially always just assumed it was Battler, but obviously Peace Battler, Person Battler, whatever, is like, we haven't necessarily had that same perspective for the rest of them. But for some reason that had stuck with me as though it was from his perspective, even though we've not really seen that point of view since episode 1, I don't think. If we've had battlers' points of view, it's been, meta witch battler. So we'll see. I'm curious if that's laid out for us explicitly. But I think you made a good point, Capelli, about like how we now feel it does kind of feel sad that Rosa is just sort of the last person on everybody's mind, that she is so discarded and forgotten about. But also, I struggle to actually feel any sympathy for her because of how awful she is to her daughter.
There's no justification for the rest of her actions. And maybe it's a part also because the rest of the parents' kids are teenagers, so you can kind of justify being a little harder on them. But she's the only one to commit physical abuse on screen. Kinzo technically on screen in flashback form. And she has the only redeeming moments with her and Maria are also extremely sad. The end of episode 2, where she's like, "Oh, we're gonna get massacred. I love my kid." Even Eva is like, you can understand her motivations with George, even if they are self-serving and selfish at times. You could still tell, like, there is at worst a veil of love to go over it. And while you can kind of see that with Rosa and Maria, a la, what's the bear's name? Lion's name.
Sakatoro.
Sakatoro. Right, she made Sakatoro for her. And the way
Well, did she? Did she?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Good point. I hadn't thought about that.
No, she didn't. I believe that she stole that idea or, like, bought it for her and then said she made it. I forget what
something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah.
That made me so much sadder. Poor little girl.
Yep.
I mean, it's no doubt that she's emotionally and developmentally stunted.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, yeah, you can sympathize with the aspects of Rosa's character that are legitimately sad, and also hold her to account for the things that she has done separately from that. So, complicated character, Rosa.
Yeah, he writes good characters. They have depth.
With a flash of red light, Kanon quickly ends Rosa's life, laying her to rest on the sofa she used to love resting on as a child. However, as soon as Kanon calls out to the demons announcing his completion of his trial, he is suddenly forced to dodge a barrage of deadly magic. On discovering that Kanon had killed Rosa, Maria has flown into an inconsolable rage. While Kanon doesn't want to have to kill beyond the requirements of the love trial, he is forced to defend himself against Maria's full-power assault. However, due to Maria and Sakataro's diplomatic immunity, he is unable to target her with any kind of attack. When it looks like Maria is just about to catch Kanon, Shannon suddenly steps in and protects him. Shannon announces that she'll be picking Maria as her sacrifice, and proceeds to use her barrier to crush Maria to death without taking any direct offensive action against her. With this being a locked room, Maria cackles at the prospect of that wannabe detective attempting to solve these murders.
As soon as this scene came on, I was just reminded of our last week's recording when you said this isn't even unhinged Maria. And it's like, is this unhinged Maria? This is kind of spectacular. The way she goes to bat for a mother that doesn't deserve her is also very sad, but it's amazing how loyal she is. Rosa doesn't deserve her at all. I am kind of convinced now that when in our theory crafting, I was talking about how I think that basically all of the servants are in on whatever is happening, and that's what makes furniture. It's that for some reason they've been hired or whatever to do this. I am kind of even more convinced by this scene now that Shannon and Kanon are capable of being kind of cold-blooded, calculated killers. I don't know. They just seemed really cold and distant in this, not like they gave any kind of care about the people that they were killing.
To be able to commit something like this, you have to disassociate yourself somehow.
Yeah, and I think of the characters, they are definitely the most prepared to understand like the furniture piece, multiversy nature of this particular conflict, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I see that.
I mean, they obviously very much care about at least Maria.
Do they?
It's really interesting because I had defended them very hard in our like episode that we were like trying to solve it, where I'm like, no, I don't think they're part of any of this. And then now we're looking at this and I'm going, I kind of still believe what I said. Like, I believe that they are the culprits of this game. I don't necessarily believe that they were the culprits of any previous games personally.
Okay.
But there was an interesting word. I don't know if they said, Maria says something really interesting as she was dying in this one, where she said, like, just like mommy killed them all or something like that. I caught that
yeah.
a couple of times, and like it makes me wonder if she has recollection of previous fragments. Like, in this, again, I'm almost positive Rosa was the sole killer or one of the sole killers of episode 2. And I'm thinking that she's referring to episode 2, personally.
You could also take that, right? When we look at the game board, there's face value, which is, like Beatrice versus Virgilia. Like that fight, face value they fought. Closer inspection is like, where's the proof that there was a fight, right? So face value, which Rosa killed them and killed a lot of them over and over and over and over. So yeah, to me that was very much a reference back to episode 2. And the way that Maria dies, the way she gets crushed, she's just like, you got me. All right, well, go ahead, go on with it. So that's like, yeah, she understands what's happening, and she's basically been telling them the whole story. Like, guys, who cares if we die? We're gonna come back. This is just a game. She grasps that we're just pieces on a board.
Yeah.
How she's able to do that has something to say about her dynamic, her relationship with Beatrice.
I think she's going to be extremely relevant in episodes 7 and 8. I think this is like the climax for Jessica and George's stories. I don't think it's a climax for Maria's story.
Okay.
I laugh because I agree with you, but we've been saying that since episode 3. I think Maria's finally going to be relevant in this next one.
Maybe someday.
Hopefully. At some point, she's got to be, right?
She gets her moments.
I think she's been a key character from the beginning. I just have yet to see why. I think there's something that...
Where the fuck is Nanjo?
I was going to get to that at the very end. This whole read, in fact, maybe this whole episode so far, where is Nanjo? I'm convinced I haven't seen Nanjo. I was thinking of you last night.
He's definitely been in the episode, but not within the past, 2 readings.
Right? Where is he? What's happened?
Kumasawa.
Yeah, I mean, same with Kumasawa, but...
We've seen Kumasawa a lot.
Kumasawa was a little bit in their last episode when she explained the history of, the island's stories of monsters and witches.
That's true, when she has the scene with Erica.
Yeah, Kumasawa was actually there. Nanjo has not been.
Yeah, I'm actually legitimately wondering if we've seen Nanjo this episode. I don't remember.
I believe he was at dinner when Erica showed up.
In episode 5, Erica spends time with Nanjo before the first Twilight.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This time she spends it with Kumasawa.
Yeah.
Could Nanjo have been the one to let, and we'll get there, to let Battler and Maria in?
Nanjo is at dinner.
Yes.
He is, because he comments on
I thought so.
The cheese.
But that's the last time we see him.
So Battler didn't erase him from this board. Good.
He has one line in this episode so far.
He has not been very relevant, but I'm wondering if that is kind of intentional, because he could easily be the accomplice to all these murders. Or the murderer himself. Now that I've seen Shannon and Kanon and George and Jessica actually kill, I'm now not discounting anyone.
I need a battle scene with Nanjo.
I want it too. I want to see my boy win.
Well, there have been episodes where we've hardly seen Kumasawa as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this feels like the first time that we've hardly seen Nanjo, but I do think that is probably relevant. It is part of the whole who is... Because for me, we don't have a culprit. We have a mastermind and a bunch of people that are doing murders. So I think that Nanjo could possibly fit in that group. But I've only started thinking that with this episode, and his absence has been so pronounced in the last couple reads.
Yeah, it is odd, because even later on when people die, he is not mentioned once.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To confirm deaths or anything. What's going on? He's not mentioned. There's a point where we get to where they're in groups, and he's not mentioned as being part of either of those 2 or 3 groups. So it's odd.
You know who else isn't mentioned at all?
Kinzo.
Well, that's okay.
No one gives a shit about this old man. But before that, they're like, is our dad safe? Is our dad under attack? What's going on with dad? And I guess that's because all of the women are dead. That the guys just we care more about this.
What, there are only 3 women left, and it's Shannon, Jessica, and Kumasawa?
And Erica.
Yeah, I think so.
And 2 of them are confirmed to have killed 2 of the other women?
Confirmed?
So,
again, you're looking at face value.
Well, here's the thing.
We're jumping ahead.
We're looking at what...
Capelli, if you truly loved Ben, you would believe what he says as if it was red text.
I guess I got some bad news for Ben. I don't know what to tell you.
We should probably get a little bit more into this before I talk about my theories, because we need to get more red text.
Yeah, we should read more.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, sorry, like, when you mentioned the Nanjo in there, I was literally like, wait a minute, I forgot about Nanjo. Yeah, he hasn't shut up. Oh, boy.
Literally, that came to me as we were talking about it. I'm like, where's my guy? Where's my boy?
Well, glad we have you on Nanjo watch. That's why you're here, so.
That's why I'm here. Everyone would forget about him if not for me.
With both Shannon and Kanon's trials complete, we then turn to chick Beatrice, who seems to have chosen Natsuhi as her target. Natsuhi have returned to her room at Krause's behest. While she would have preferred to at least stay by him in support for as long as possible, she knows that it was best for her to retire before her emotions got the better of her. Taking out the small pouch containing the spiritual mirror, she thinks back on her family before she married into the Ashuramias. However, reminiscing is cut short by the sudden appearance of chick Beatrice, who has come to take Natsuhi's life. Beatrice speculates that the baby from 19 years ago that Natsuhi had pushed off that cliff may have actually been Battler, as he had claimed in the previous game. As revenge for that child, Beatrice has chosen Natsuhi to be her sacrifice. Somehow suddenly able to force choke, Beatrice begins to throttle Natsuhi from across the room. However, when Beatrice's gaze accidentally falls on the spiritual mirror that Natsuhi had dropped, she is thrown back against the wall like she had been struck by lightning. Neither Chick nor Elder Beatrice seem to have any idea why the spiritual mirror would affect her so, when none of the other weaknesses of Beatrice seem to. Natsuhi, recognizing the nature of the threat against her, brandishes the mirror as a weapon and attempts to banish Beatrice. With Zepar and Furfur's encouragement, Beatrice realizes that she does truly love Battler, not just as an obligation for bringing her into this world. However, this newfound resolve has come too late, and Natsuhi continues to assault her with the mirror's reflection. Suddenly, though, Lucifer of Pride appears and destroys the spiritual mirror tormenting her. Beatrice then resumes her attempt to strangle Natsuhi, but isn't quite strong enough to do so before Natsuhi would be able to open the door and break the closed room seal. Just before that can happen, though, Battler has Lucifer strike Natsuhi down. Zepar and Furfur at first seem uncertain if this should count for the trial, but since a pair in love are as one, they will allow it. Beatrice apologizes to Battler for not following his orders and staying in her room, but Battler doesn't care about that anymore. He apologizes to her instead for being so unkind and forcing his expectations upon her. Chick Beatrice is finally then able to properly call Battler by his name, if still with honorifics. Battler decides to join Zepar and Furfur's game as well, although, as they say, he was always assumed to be a part of it. Apparently, he's already made his sacrifice, and the two demons go to verify that the first trial is now complete.
Man, I do love these two demons. Even though I am at this point known for hating new characters, these are great. Every time they come on screen and they're little, like, it feels like every time I see them, it's like, ta-da, we're here. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not irritating. I find them really endearing.
They're very purposeful. They don't they're here for a thing, they do the thing, and they do it well, and they're gone.
Yeah, they really are wonderful. I hadn't picked up on that, but you saying somehow suddenly able to force choke was like, that was kind of ridiculous. Like, where did that come from? Because she couldn't use magic 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
What's happened? So, because she's seen herself in the scary mirror, had that happened before she force choked? Like, suddenly her magic has awakened? I don't know.
She force choked first, and then the mirror seemed to damage her. Yeah, it's not clear exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it's weird. It is really weird. And this part, because I knew that I was kind of reading at least simultaneously with everybody else. Normally, for everybody at home, I'm usually the last one to read. I'm like cutting it to the wire before we hop on these calls. Now, but this time was different. I finished before everybody else. And so I was having to restrain myself with our group chat that we have for organizing things. Because at this point, when it was saying Beatrice speculates the baby from 19 years ago was Battler, I was like, yes! I know it's not confirmed, but I was so excited and so desperate to talk about it. I'm so glad that we are. But I don't really know what else to say about it. It's funny. I was like, at the time, I was like, this is everything. This is so good. I'm going to have so much to say. I have nothing to say except vindicated, I suppose. But it's still not proven, so who knows what's happening for real. But I like that was where Beatrice landed as well. See, I said a whole lot and still said nothing.
Don't worry, this story does that a lot. So
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe that's why I hate it, because I see myself in it so much.
It's really just a mirror back.
You gaze into the spiritual mirror. Back in the real world, Ange notes that 6 people have died, making this the first Twilight. However, Hachijo says that there being 6 deaths is half design, half coincidence, as there just happen to be 6 lovers. While Ange doesn't believe in anything like fate or destiny, and would normally dismiss all of these scenes of love as distractions, she's attempting to follow Okanogi's advice of, without love it cannot be seen, and look at the story from a different lens. Hachijo, the author, has spent many pages of this tale talking about love and trials, and so they must be important to what she is trying to express to the readers. After all, even as far back as the second game, love has been a critical theme. But Hachijo's works, in particular, seem to shine a spotlight on it. While Ange is annoyed by Hachijo's refusal to speak plainly, she has to admit that Hachijo clearly had reached some kind of truth, and thus become an endless witch herself.
Man, Becca would really love this bit. We're going to really need to see her hot takes in Discord.
I guess we kind of have a clear idea for how Kyle calls himself an endless witch.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the truth.
What if we're all in one of Kyle's games right now?
Oh my god.
It's all right. I know where he lives.
You know where Peace Kyle lives.
Very
I
good.
teach you the definition of stab it in the head and kill.
I thought this was interesting because I think this is like the first time we've gone back to real world,
Mm.
not the endless witch mistress of theater that we'll then see later in this reading, but like real world that transitions to that for a while.
You mean Hachijo being on screen, not featherine?
Correct.
Mhm.
Like it's been a while, so
I'm not sure you can call that the real word either way, but it's definitely a veil of it.
A world.
Yeah, it's definitely unclear.
I mean, it's a fragment. What is the real world in this sense? Like, if we're looking at fragments, and this is still fragment, in what I call fragment 3. Like, this is the world of fragment 3.
You mean the Ange world?
Yeah.
But the lens of a writer and someone reading a story, right? That is the lens that world exists in.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what the payoff for this is, like, especially the real world version of this. I'm interested to see what Ange gets out of all of this because I honestly didn't expect her return since, was it episode 3 that she was a big part, or was she torn apart in episode 4? I forget.
She arrived at the end of episode 3 and she's a big part of 4.
Okay. And so at the end of episode 4, at the end of the questions arc, I didn't expect her to be back, honestly. Like, not in this capacity, not in like Fragment World 3. Like, I thought maybe she would be somewhere ethereal, but it's interesting.
Maybe she is somewhere ethereal.
I mean, at that point, we're going into semantics of what's ethereal.
No. She's meat paste, isn't she now? Isn't that what happened to her?
Yeah.
In Purgatorio, I think so.
She is a meat popsicle.
Yep. So, just really interesting.
Yeah. It was kind of jarring, I think. I was like, oh, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, I was also confused why it wasn't featherine and...
Yeah, it's interesting to compare the perspective of featherine versus Hachijo, right? Because they clearly have very different perspectives on the story. Hachijo, the writer, has reached the truth and is an endless witch, but featherine is not, right? Featherine has not reached the truth, or maybe has reached the truth, but is seeking confirmation via having Ange read these stories to her.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Like, for some reason, this part of the reading really made me think about, like, episode 1 is still the most confusing setup for a murder so far. In most other ones, you can draw some sort of conclusion, like on why people were murdered or how. I still see episode 1 with like the order of the deaths, the way things were killed, and all of that to be very confusing. With like the 6 people in the shed didn't really have too much of a connection that brought all 6 of them together, unlike the first Twilight of the second episode, where it was everyone except for Rosa that was part of like the 3 married couples. And then in episode 3, it was all the servants plus Kinzo. In episode 1, there's just so little to go on, like on what is the motivation for this, because like Shannon obviously dies. So like if we're looking at what this current episode is showing us, why is like what was the motivating factor for episode 1? And I think that's still one of my biggest questions through all this is what exactly made episode 1 so special that there is so hard to see any kind of through line for it. And the only kind of hint we get is that, what's his name? Rudolf had said to Battler, I have a feeling I'm going to die tonight. And then both he and Kyrie die.
Yeah, I think in episode 1, they speculate that it was all the people that were still in the family conference at that time.
In the mansion, because Ava and Hideyoshi had gone to bed or something.
They'd gone to bed, and then Shannon was on duty in the mansion. Yeah, so that's the kind of general group that was in that.
Yeah, but it's just really interesting. Like, there's no... Was it one of convenience versus the other... ones where somehow in episode 2 all of the like Rosa had tricked everyone to going into the chapel, and episode 3 Ava had killed all the servants and made a locked room case? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, the story would say it's the demon's roulette, but as we know, that basically just means whatever Beatrice wanted at the moment. So
yeah.
In Purgatorio, Erica mocks Battler for taking so long to get to the first Twilight. On the game board, Erica is woken up by a knock on the door just after 1 a.m. Cutting back to the meta world, she tells Battler that she will not be making a detective's proclamation this game. As Bernkastel says, their failure to win in the previous game, despite such an overwhelming advantage, was a true embarrassment. In this, the final game, Erica would wager her own destruction that she could defeat the witch's illusion as a normal human. Battler can clearly tell that Erica is being pressured into this arrangement, but agrees to the deal knowing that her pride wouldn't allow anything less. Back on the game board, George and Jessica have come to Erica's room looking for Battler and Maria, who had left the cousins' room some time ago. They were hoping that she would have heard of some sign of them. Erica, gleeful to have a crime to finally investigate, tells George and Jessica to remain here and dashes out into the rainy night. Arriving at the mansion and heading inside, she's immediately greeted by Goda, fleeing the parlor in a panic, having just discovered the crime. In Purgatorio, Erica has Battler lay out the facts of the discovery of the bodies. When everyone didn't come back from the break, the adults had headed to the parlor, only to find it locked from the inside. Checking from an outside window, they could see Rosa unresponsive on the couch inside, and so broke in to find her and Maria dead. Searching the rest of the mansion for the remaining missing persons, they eventually found Natsuhi, Kyrie, and Eva all dead in the rooms the previous scenes depicted them being laid to rest in. However, that still leaves the first Twilight one body short. Back on the game board, Goda finds that one of the guest rooms seems to have its chain lock set. Rudolf and Kraus, having taken guns from Kinzo's collection, order him to cut the chain so they can enter and search. Inside, to Rudolf's dismay, they discover Battler dead.
I think this is really interesting because, like, we know that Battler said that he'll take care of the kill. Like, in Purgatorio, like, talking to the demons and whatnot, he said, like, oh, I already took care of his kill. And the fact that it's himself, but these are considered homicides, like, and that's cleared up later, means that he didn't kill himself. So who's to say that, like, what does that mean for, like, what are we seeing with Shannon, Kanon, George?
You're
like,
just seeing what Battler wants you to see.
Yeah, I get that. So who's to say that any of them actually killed the people that they did? I'm not saying they didn't, but we do get confirmation a little later that 4 of the biggest suspects that there could have been didn't kill them. So then if it's not them and it's not those 4 suspects, we're left with what? Like Kumasawa and Nanjo, basically.
Are we?
Oh, yeah.
Who else would we be left with? Like
Genji.
Genji is cleared from killing any of them. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. You're right.
There's a glaring hole in the web of red and blue that we're going to get. So,
and that is?
We'll get to it.
I'm not going to talk about it until after we get there.
Oh.
Structure in this podcast?
I'm interested to hear you guys say how I'm wrong, if you can, because
I'm great at that.
I think what I have is a reasonable doubt, and I don't think Erica would intentionally miss it. So I think it is the beginning of her trap for Battler. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the moment where I realized before they opened the door, I'm like, who's one of the few people who haven't been shown yet and would be a most interesting death? Like, it's probably Battler, because we have Rudolf opening the door, and like, yeah, that was a great scene.
It was a great scene. I'm so amused, though, by Kyle's description of Rudolph's emotion at his dead son as dismay. Dismay for me. It's just like, oh no, I stepped in a puddle and my socks are damp. But that also, like, there wasn't really any wailing from Rudolph, like there has been from others, right? I mean, there was a bit. I
disagree. I think
it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
What I think is interesting that Kyle omitted, that Kyle didn't write down, is his like, oh, Battler, Kyrie, I never got the chance to tell you the truth.
That's for the next segment.
Right.
You fool. You fell for my trap.
Is that the next segment? I thought that was this segment.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Where did you put it?
Yes, he doesn't say it immediately, does he?
Yeah, he says it later.
He says it later. Yeah. Damn it.
I think he might. I think he might say it when they're all in the guest house, like talking.
Yeah.
The 3 guys.
It's like right when they first meet up in the guest house. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was at this moment. Okay.
It was the 4. It was the 4 guys.
You win.
Yeah.
You win this fight, Kyle.
The fight that he didn't even know he was in.
That's part of being a golden witch, baby.
I did, like, when I was writing the summary, I was legit like, do I put this line in? It's like, it's such a, obviously y'all will know it. Remember it, we'll talk about it. But like, I have to say it.
But you also know that we'll pick up on it and talk about it.
Yeah.
So.
But you didn't put in the fact that Maria said that Rosa killed them all.
Yep, I did check though. She did say that. Yeah, she said just like Mama killed them before.
What does that mean?
I think it's very clearly a reference to episode 2.
Sure, but why does she know what that means? I don't know.
I mean, Maria's kind of known what's going on for a while. She's a witch.
Yeah, this is Maria. The Maria that we see in that scene where she's enraged is Witch Maria. It's not Peace Maria.
Okay, here's the full line.
Well, I guess it's both.
Just like Mama killed the others, I'll kill you without mercy. And then later, when Takatara says, Maria, take it easy, she says, yeah, take it easy. I'll be a little more gentle than Mama was.
Yeah, because Witch Rosa was fucking sadistic.
I mean, Rosa is a little bit, to be fair.
They're all a little unhinged.
Yeah, of all of them, Rosa has the least potential to be well balanced because she doesn't have a foil to her crazy.
Yeah.
And they're all of them crazy, but they have, paired up with someone who's a good foil to their own quirkiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I'm really curious now from this scene about how I'm calling them the band of brothers because that's basically who's left. How they're going to cope. Because we've had like a really strong female character carry the rest of each episode through.
This one's for the boys.
Oh, exactly.
You have a very prominent line from Erica coming up in a little bit that basically addresses that directly. And I hate that it's coming from a child.
Oh, yeah. I'm really curious to see how this episode is going to round out with basically just the men of the family in charge, because we don't, like Capelli was saying earlier, we don't really know an awful lot about them. Most of the complex characters that we've had have been women. So I'm excited to see where this episode's going to end with these fellas.
You'll recall, I basically call this a story about feminism because of that reason, is that the vast majority of the strength in the story comes from the female characters. And so here we're going to see just how much that holds water and if the men can get their shit together.
I think it's really interesting that it's in Battler's game that we are seeing this version as well, and seeing Battler dead and only men left alive. Like, I don't know what that says yet, but I think it probably says something.
The game master has been women from here on out. Yeah, that's a good point.
From before, yep. I agree with that. That's interesting.
Also, like when they're talking about how like the wives and the spouses are dead, they're like, they killed the women and Battler.
Yeah, it was such a funny line.
I want to make that meme that's like for the gays and for that one person's. I can't remember this fucking meme. I'll make one for.
Dear.
There are some interactions that I'm suspecting are going to happen off camera, but like I want to see Kraus and Jessica, and I want to see Hideyoshi and George like talk about the death of their mother and wife. We kind of got that a little bit in episode 4 with Kraus and Jessica over the phone, and you kind of got the idea of like, oh, Kraus just might be a good dad. Didn't see that one coming. Hideyoshi, I never doubted was a good dad, but again, all of this has been an undercurrent of the woman is the one keeping us together, which once again makes me think about all the adults' moms, Kinzo's wife, who I don't think we're really going to get much of in the story. It doesn't seem like she's all that relevant to much things, but I mean, thematically, like that, who that person is important. It kind of says a lot about why her and Kinzo's relationship is the groundwork for why these kids grew up to be shit with money. Why Rose is, a mess in her own right, which I don't need to get into again. We've already berated her thoroughly. Why she beats her kids, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, Kinzo's wife, really strong in the fighting game.
Very good.
Wait, are you serious?
That almost made me do like a spit take if I would have had soda in my mouth.
The fighting game does have some stuff though. Like there are some plot stuff in there that's kind of interesting. One of the things that the fighting game like actually does is its plot is about one of the theories of like not like the solution, but like one of like the ongoing theories that people had when reading about who the villain was is the villain of the fighting game. And that's what the plot is about.
That's very funny. I am looking forward to it.
Returning to the meta world, Erica is surprised that Battler would make himself one of the first victims. When Beatrice then claims that all of the crime scenes are locked room murders impossible without magic, Erica scoffs and points out that, by the very nature of their game, the murders must be possible without magic. Ange, in the realm of spectating, thinks back to that time that she had begged the 7 Sisters of Purgatory to kill her bullying classmates for her. They had been unable to, because Ange had not been capable of killing them herself. No, not just capable. If and only if Ange had actually succeeded in killing them, could the 7 Sisters have been made to be the ones that committed the crime. Witch's magic can only ever be used to embellish the things that are already possible for them. Because Erica had understood this from the beginning, there had never been any possibility that she would be taken in by the witch's illusions. Once this rule of the game is seen through, victory by the human side is inevitable, as more and more hints pile up. So why then did Beatrice prolong her game against Battler until her loss was all but guaranteed?
Why indeed? That's the truth. It's in there. It's in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
That's what we're trying to get to.
They harp on that a couple times. There's a later line where Battler describes his game with Beatrice as Russian roulette that she dragged on repeatedly, which I think is a good metaphor.
Yeah.
I think it's because winning the game wasn't her goal. It was getting Battler to realize something was her goal. And they show that at the end of episode 4.
Completely agree.
There is something that these games were supposed to show Battler, which was the truth. And then from there, it was too late for her because she had basically given up by that point. But now that he knows the truth, he's going to show people that he knows the truth. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, that's what this whole game is about, is him proving it.
Yeah, but I think that is, to me, that's the answer, is she was doing it not to win. Because if she won, she wouldn't actually get what she wanted. There was something in the game, in all of the games that she made, that were meant to show Battler something.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that is the why she prolonged all of her games. But the what is really what the story is about. What are we supposed to take from this? And from the beginning, love has been a very strong theme, and the fact that they're just laying that out for us right now feels like it's something to pay attention to as well. I don't know. I know that we will probably not get real, true answers. Especially, I meant to say this before, actually, the whole endless witch confirmation thing kind of makes me now realize that we are not going to get a truly, we're not going to get all of the answers. We're not going to be able to turn to the back of the book and see everything laid out and understand exactly what's going on, which is kind of what, Kyle, you've been alluding to since the beginning. But it's going to give us the tools that we need to form our own truth for what has happened. We're going to get a lot more revealed to us, I think, but I think ultimately we will all be able to tell the story in a way that makes sense to us, but it might be different versions of the same story.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to see. We were only not even halfway through the answer arcs, so.
I almost made the game will start soon joke, right?
In the general chaos after the bodies were discovered, Erica took this opportunity to visit each of the crime scenes and give them each a once-over. As Delnor says, while Erica still has a photographic memory, without the detective's authority, she would be unable to guarantee any facts about the case without Battler confirming them in red. Regardless, with the previous game thrown due to her not doing her due diligence in checking all the corpses, she would not be making the same mistake in this game. Erica confirms that each crime scene has been constructed so as to be locked from the inside, by a method that can't be undone with a master key. Each room had chain locks set if possible, and the parlor had a hat stand propped against the door from the inside. Erica immediately notes the parlor is suspicious for using a different method than the rest, but decides to move on for now. Gertrude and Cornelia confirm that none of the corpses had any definitive signs of the causes of death, and so even that would remain uncertain until Battler confirmed it in red. In the witch's smoking room, Bernkastel informs Lambda Delta of the 2 methods of creating a locked room murder: the illusion of a locked room or the illusion of a crime. In other words, using any number of tricks to bypass what is supposed to be a locked room, or the murder itself doesn't actually take place while the locked room is constructed. Lambda Delta agrees that it looks like the latter would have to be the only possible answer. After all, having seen behind the scenes of Battler's game board, she can guarantee that these are perfect locked rooms that only can be constructed from the inside, with no way to construct, deconstruct, or interfere with them from the outside. Of course, Lambda wouldn't be so rude to Battler as to confirm any of that in red, but if Byrne really does love her, then she should be willing to treat it as such. Of course, Lambda Delta has already solved the case. Everybody was clearly so annoyed with Erica's behavior that they all decided to prank her with a fake mystery. However, Bernkastel herself can confirm that the 6 really are dead. Even without the detective's proclamation, Erica is incredibly accurate when it comes to examining corpses. Just like Lambda Delta, Bernkastel refuses to say so in red to keep their game going. However, soon this game too will come to an end.
I know we haven't gotten to the red and blue yet, but just like previous games, the devil's in the details. And this is going to come down to, the argument's going to come down to when these people died.
For sure. Always.
And that's, yeah. Oh, gosh, I don't want to say it until after Kyle's done the red and blue, but I like my theory.
Okay.
I like my theory a lot. I think I know. I've got a prime candidate. I've got a prime
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Interesting, okay.
I'm excited to hear it.
Bernkastel, though, this thing, I'm going to pull us back to this particular section that Kyle's just summarized for us. Bernkastel, my God, I'd forgotten how much of I don't even have words to describe her. She is just pure awful. The way,
Mhm.
and I mean, I don't like Erica either, particularly, but the way she's treated Erica is so horrible. And taking away the detective proclamation. I mean, kudos. Wait, is this the bit we're at, right? Or is that later? I'm sorry. I might be getting ahead.
There's gonna be a bit more later where she like really rails onto her, but this is just where she first says she can't use it. Yeah, I think there's more about that a bit later.
This is awful.
Yeah.
Man, she definitely gets worse, but this glimpse again of the Bernkastel that we had started to hate and then kind of faded into the background of the episode 5, I feel. Man, I almost feel bad for
Mhm.
Erica.
Right.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah, I don't.
You say almost.
That's why I said don't cross that threshold.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. So, back in Purgatorio, Battler and Erica's battle of truths is about to begin. Erica first confirms that Battler will, in fact, respond to requests and repetitions in red. Battler agrees, but confirms that he has no obligations and can decline at any time for any reason. Erica then has Delano read out a list of statements to be acknowledged in red. First, the rooms with the 6 people in them are all locked rooms. Acknowledged. Of course, it is only until Goda and the others severed the chains and destroyed the locked rooms. Second, the definition of locked room implies that it is impossible to construct from the outside. Acknowledged. In other words, no trickery done from the outside can construct a locked room. It isn't permitted for a chain lock to be reset from the outside by a skillfully used wire, for example. Third, the definition of a locked room implies that all forms of interference between the outside and the inside of the room are prevented. Acknowledged. However, I won't rule out the kinds of interference that you'd expect from a normal room, such as knocks, voices, and the extension phone line. Fourth, at the time of the breaking of the locked rooms, no one existed within the rooms except for the victims, Natsuhi, Eva, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, and Battler. Acknowledged. No culprit could have been hiding in the room and escaped after the room had been broken into. Fifth, no murder was committed after the breaking of the locked rooms. However, this one Battler declines to respond to. Erica speculates in blue that this means that Krause's group cut the chains and destroyed the locked rooms and then killed the people inside. However, Beatrice simply says that Battler could not repeat this because, of course, there will still be murders after these ones. Instead, Erica has Battler confirm that, after the breaking of the locked rooms, the only ones to enter the rooms apart from Erica were these 4. Krause, Rudolf, Hideyoshi, and Goda. Acknowledged. However, this only applies to the current point in time. It's possible that some later development in the game will cause more people to enter. Next, Erica wants Battler to confirm that Krause, Rudolf, Hideyoshi, and Goda are not culprits. However, Battler finds this wording to be too imprecise, and instead gives the red. Krause, Rudolf, Hideyoshi, and Goda. These 4 had no involvement in murdering these 6. Natsuhi, Eva, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, and Battler. Battler invites Erica to present any theories about how someone besides those 4 could possibly have committed these crimes with the blue truth. While the human side is to solve all presented mysteries to win, the witch side only has to have a single mystery slip through. Erica compliments Battler's ability to properly play from the witch's side. And finally, she requests one last repetition before she cuts Delano off and moves on. The victims did not die by any method other than homicide. Acknowledged. Of course, there were no suicides or accidental deaths. Seeing Battler and Erica battle each other with truths makes Beatrice slightly jealous. Recalling all of the games that she had read in Featherine's archive of her old self and Battler doing the same, that too must have been fun.
All right. So going back through this, I don't think my theory is rock solid because I can't escape. Which one is it? The third one.
Much like the person trapped in the locked room, he cannot escape.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So what my theory is, I'll just say it and then we can talk about it. Which is, my thought was that someone was hiding in the room and left the moment that it gets broken into. But I think that at the time of the breaking of the rooms, no one existed within the rooms except the victims. So that kind of gets broken. But the thing that doesn't get red truth here is these people being dead. There's no red text that says they're dead.
That is true.
Correct.
So my thought process is, again, just like they mentioned with Erica foregoing the detective's proclamation, these people could all be faking their deaths or anything like that. And the main suspect that I have moving forward there is going to be Peace Battler,
Okay.
who we get no details about how he died, his state of just that he is dead, right? Rosa and Maria are covered in blood and all these things happen. And they're going to get into it a little bit here that the most suspicious room is the one with Maria and Rosa because it doesn't have a chain because it couldn't. So why did the hat rack need to be used? My thought was that, Battler was hiding in the room, exited as the other group came in, and that they find his body freshly dead because there's no time of death. There's no mention of how warm his body is, anything like that.
Well, you don't trust Bernkastel's declaration that they're all dead? You don't trust that?
Oh, they're dead. So okay, so that removes the whole they're faking it, but it doesn't eliminate the fact that Battler was the one to kill all of them. The question then is, if Battler is dead, which he is according to Lambda Delta, who killed him? That's why my theory is not rock solid, but I think I'm pulling on the right thread.
Okay. All right. We shall see.
I like it. So my whole beef with this section is that although it's a red versus blue, is it? Basically, the only thing that's said in red is acknowledged. All that says is that it is true that he is acknowledging what she is saying. Not it is true, like, he doesn't repeat it back. We don't actually get any new red other than the one that Kraus, Rudolf, Hideyoshi, Goda, these four had no involvement in murdering these six, Natsuhi, Eva, Kirie, Rosa, Maria, and Battler. But what am I supposed to do with that?
I think it's in the spirit of it that acknowledge is supposed to mean that the statement that was said before it is a red truth and that he is just shortening it so he doesn't have to repeat it. That is the spirit of this, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I think you're both correct in the sense that, like, yes, that is definitely the spirit of what is being said. But if you were to be technical, I bet you could find a way to get around that. Yeah. So we'll have to see moving forward what that means for this.
I am treating the statements as red truths until said otherwise right now.
And I'm not, basically. If it's not in red in the game, it's not a red truth. Like, that's a rule that's been established.
I mean, I think the other thing that I think is of note is that even if you do read acknowledged as being like the thing you said before is in red, several of the things they talk about is like, this is what the definition of a locked room is.
Yeah.
I don't believe they said in red that this is a locked room.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
so there's definitely some stuff to play with there.
There really is.
I don't think much was actually accomplished in this. I think the biggest one is that last statement. No, like being able to roll out 4 people that they had no involvement in murdering these 6 is huge.
Yeah, it doesn't leave a lot left.
It leaves Genji and Nanjo and Kumasawa, and then the people that we are shown murdering them. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, it was an odd segment.
The state of the bodies is all so interesting too. Like, they don't talk about it too much, but like, why was Maria against the wall? And why was Rosa on the couch? Why was Battler in a bed? Lots of curiosities there.
This reeks of the second Twilight from episode 5.
Which one was that? Who died?
It's when Natsuhi's hiding in the closet and Hideyoshi gets attacked.
Yeah. I still think that there's some sort of method of entry and exit from these rooms that we don't know about. Like, there is something that is the key to how people get in and out of these rooms that make these lock rooms.
Interesting.
I'm going to say something that Kyle said when I suggested something similar for some sort of other mystery, which is like, how would you feel if here at episode 6 or even at episode 7 that the answer was, it was this thing that we never, ever hinted at. That goes against the Decalogue.
I agree.
But do we accept the Decalogue as rules within the story for when we don't have
a detective? Yeah.
Like, has it ever been said in red, even, that the Decalogue is a rule for the story as a whole?
No, I mean, in fact, Battler has outright said that there's no guarantee the Decalogue technically applies. It applied in the previous game because it was Land Delta Bernkastel, there was a detective. Like, it was definitely constructed to allow that to function. There's not technically a guarantee that it applies to all games.
But then I get frustrated that the author very much is like, use this to help frame your thinking. But then we're going to go against that to give you the key piece of the puzzle. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, this game wants you to consider it a mystery and approach it as such. And if you tell me the answer to your locked rooms is going to be some sort of either a gotcha or you couldn't have known, there's nothing foreshadowed. Like, come on.
Capelli, what answer are you going to be satisfied by at this point? That was the question.
I don't know. I'm okay with...
It's a sci-fi time travel.
Well, yeah, that's right. It's sci-fi. They warped into the room, and the answer was right there in the bunnies all along.
Yeah,
I'm satisfied with just the rationale that they give sometimes, which is like, I don't have to explain the details to you, and just kind of leaving that up to the author.
You're fine with that?
I am absolutely not satisfied with that answer and want something.
I think you're not going to be very satisfied.
I don't even need a direct answer, but that's not okay.
We'll see.
I'm really worried that I won't be, Capelli. You don't understand. I would rather there be like a secret entrance or like a method of entry and exit from rooms than get no answer whatsoever.
I think that there probably is.
I would rather
I
a
don't-
disappointing answer than no answer at all.
I don't think we're going to
Yeah.
get no answer, but I don't think it's going to be spelled out for us. I mean, Kyle's basically said a lot of things aren't going to be spelled out, and it's up to the audience and the community to kind of like make sense of a lot of things.
So basically, the VN doesn't necessarily give as many answers, but the manga definitely does. The manga gives a lot more explicit answers. It finished, I think, at least a year after the visual novel finished, and it's considered kind of like considered Rigishi's like definitive word on like after the fact. Here's some more answers.
Am I gonna need to figure out where to get this fucking manga?
You can't get it, man. It's impossible.
How long is it?
We'll get there. We'll get there, and we'll figure it out then. But
I saw a couple volumes of it on the shelves at the book off in Midtown Manhattan a few weeks ago.
Nice.
yeah, finding copies. It's out of print, and like if you want to get a full set, it's like thousands of dollars. It's obscene.
Whoa.
That's too many dollars.
All right. Well, hold on. Now I'm going to look up.
I mean, the fans that do want it are like they want all of it. They're like they want a collection, but then like it just never sold when it was in print. So
On the book off website, they have Umineko When They Cry, episode 3, complete set for $20.
episode
But only
3.
episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad though if that's true. Obviously, like episode 8 is the one that you really want.
It's not that long.
Yeah.
Each volume is 5 or 6 chapters.
Yeah, it's pretty short, I think, relatively. Once we get there, I'll figure out what we're gonna do. Like there are ways we can take a look at it. So
No, wait. Sorry, I misspoke. It's very long. Episode. I was misunderstanding the list. Episode 4 is 4 books. Episode 1 is 4 books. Episode 2 is 5 books. Episode 3 is 5 books. Episode 4 is 6 books. Oh my god, dude, this art fucking goes hard.
oh yeah, the manga's art is incredible. You probably shouldn't look at this because you might get spoiled and some stuff. Actually,
No, I'm not. I'm not looking at things. A lot of upskirts though. I'm not a big fan of that.
well, it is manga.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say that's kind of like par for the course, right?
It was the 80s. Come on, it's fine.
I was going to say one more thing about what we were just reading about and got completely distracted by this manga stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, satisfaction in endings and locked room solutions. So
Hmm.
I think that there has to be a way into these locked rooms that, like Ben is saying, that is just not been fully revealed to us.
Hmm.
I think that it can still be kept within the Decalogue if we are
Sure. Yeah.
gonna keep those rules, because there can be ways of subtly foreshadowing a secret entrance or whatever that we just haven't picked up on yet for whatever reason. I mean, what if the mirror is the key to opening a secret door? You know, we've had this mirror of Natsuhi's feature multiple times in different episodes. I don't know, there could just be something like that, something that seems innocuous but isn't. That would be an entrance to a secret tunnel or whatever. It would be a typical classic entrance to a secret tunnel.
Hmm.
I found the
Oh,
manga
yeah.
online, so we can read it.
Yeah. Those are the methods I would not explicitly state that we could definitely use.
I mean, if it's online, it's fine. Look, I'm going to
Yeah,
put a
well-
link into our chat, and if you all want to do anything about that, that's up to you.
But yeah, we'll definitely address that because I haven't looked at the manga in years, so I'll have to figure out exactly what we need to do in order to make sure y'all get the full experience. Because it's absolutely possible that we don't need to. Like, I mean, if we, as I said before, like if y'all are fully satisfied with what the VN says, a lot of people don't want the manga. They don't want that degree of detail. So like that might just be a thing that I do with just Capelli and Ben or whoever, like whatever we would end up doing. So the people that need the details.
I know how you do.
Depending on how the story is laid out, I might need the details, I might not. I'm always going to have fun with it, though. And if I think it's stupid, I get to call it stupid, and I have fun with that, too.
We will see how satisfied I am.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ben, I don't know how to tell you this, but you'll never be satisfied.
Oh my gosh,
Such a
what's
good
Hamilton
song.
references every week.
Such a good song. Ugh.
I saw one of the last shows with Lin-Manuel as Hamilton.
Huh.
Mhm.
Lottery tickets, $10 front row. It was
Nice.
Oh.
nice.
good. Was so good.
Wow.
Did the king spit on you?
I actually like goosebumps and tears, like
Yeah.
for that song in particular. It was crazy. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
Anyway, people are here for the tangents just as much as they're here for the theorizing. So
Yeah, some people actually like us as as personalities, which is weird.
It's strange.
Why?
Because it's fucking me.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
you're pretty cool,
It is.
Capelli. You have cool hair.
Yeah, but this is an audio podcast. They don't know that.
The hair comes through the audio.
You have really cool hair. I don't know what else to tell you, Capelli.
Back on the game board, everyone is gathered in the guest house. With their wives dead, Kraus, Rudolf, and Hideyoshi oscillate rapidly between bouts of rage and sadness. Rudolf especially so, as he lost both Kyrie and Battler, and now would never be able to tell them the truth. They interrogate Goda and Genji about how Battler Maria could have entered the mansion, which was supposed to be locked up for the night, without anyone noticing. However, Erica steps in to help calm everyone down, and refocuses them on keeping their remaining family alive. Erica quickly and expertly takes charge of the situation, and sends Kraus, Genji, and Goda upstairs to the cousins' room. Once only she, Rudolf, and Hideyoshi remain in the lobby, Erica begins manipulating them into suspecting the servants. After all, the culprits clearly had intimate knowledge of the mansion's layout, were able to attack the various family members without any signs of struggle, and had enough manpower to take out both Maria and Rosa simultaneously without raising an alarm. And most damningly of all, the fact that the culprits went out of their way to set the chain locks meant that they wanted to pull suspicion away from those who could have simply locked the doors with the master keys. While Erica knows the locked rooms couldn't have been constructed from the outside, she's able to convince Rudolf and Hideyoshi by implying that it is very likely the servants have some sort of tool for locking and unlocking the chain locks from outside of the room. Erica's plan is to have the servants split up and watched over by the adults with guns to make sure that they don't try anything. Even without the detective's authority, it is possible to control human nature to this degree. What do you think, everyone?
Bleh. What I think.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, Erica's acting kind of cool in this, and then she ends it with that little flourish of just conceitedness and like, ugh.
I really like this scene because, like, a lot of this episode has been Erica being kind of a clown, just being out of control. And then in this scene, she's like, no, actually, I do in fact have skill. Let me manipulate everyone in this room real quick.
Yeah. I also want to go back and discuss how you define homicide
Oh, boy.
and like what happens if you put someone under duress,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whether that counts as homicide, because like that could be a clear solution to the locked rooms, right? I need you to go into this locked room and kill your daughter and then yourself using this poison or this thing that I gave you, right?
Mhm.
Does that count as suicide? Does it, it gets a little...
It's nebulous. Like, my personal definition I would say, like, it is both a homicide and a suicide. That would kind of clarify it if I was, like, designing this kind of thing to clarify it. But yeah, there definitely is some gray there.
And that's like the hard part when you have a murder mystery with as much text and detail that
Mhm.
I, as a reader, don't get to engage in it. Because, like, similar to my whole thing early on with, do you consider furniture humans for purposes of the red? You're very degrading towards furniture, and that changes the mystery dramatically. But I can't get those answers, so I'm just like, I just have to be along for the ride, and that kind of takes me out of it a bit because it's not an interactive experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is something that, like, when people do have other people read the story, sometimes they'll, like, give their own red truths to kind of, like, eliminate theories like that. I've been trying to avoid doing stuff to that specific of a degree.
You've done a couple little things, but nothing quite that fourth wall breaking, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, it is tough. It's genuinely tough because, like, there are certain things that, by the nature of a story like this, if you happen to see something the author didn't consider, or the author just didn't strike them as something that needed to be struck down, you could be stuck on a theory for the entire story and be like, wait a minute, what about this?
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like, either was or wasn't that, and that still sucks either way.
Hello, Epitaph, my old friend.
How's that solve going, Hayley?
No. Just
Yep.
no.
The Epitaph is definitely intended to be solved as an ARG, in my opinion. Like, I don't think it's really meant for one person to try and solve it.
I'm working on it until the story tells us something conclusive. But
Yep, I'll let you know
Well,
when there's a distinct, like, past this point, the answer will just outright be given to you. So I'll let you know.
yeah, thank you.
In the meta world, Chick Beatrice asks Battler how it feels to play on the witch's side. Battler says that it's strange. He used to think that the witch's side was overwhelmingly advantaged, but now that he's playing it, he can see how fragile that illusion is. While the human side feels like it's trying to shoot a target hidden by mist, for the witch's side, any one of those random shots might become fatal. And even though every game board was another round of Russian roulette, Beatrice stretched those games out, believing that Battler would eventually figure it all out. Chick Beatrice asks Battler what it was exactly that he figured out at the end of the last game. However, Battler says that he can't answer that she might remember that herself. That is the one seed of the miracle of her true revival that he will continue to hold on to. And despite Battler now treating her kindly and as her own person, seeing how much he still yearns for the way she used to be, Chick Beatrice knows that she must find a way to do so. When Battler says he thinks he will be able to win this game, Beatrice asks him what will happen to her and this world when it ends. Battler isn't sure, but now that he fully understands magic, he is certain that he'll be able to carry her off the game board, as he believes the old Beatrice wished. Once Battler leaves to continue his battle with Erica, Chick Beatrice summons Beatrice the Elder to continue to work on becoming one. Beatrice the Elder says that she believes the key to solving all of their problems is to win Zepar and Furfur's love trial and receive the miracle of their magic. Confused, Chick Beatrice laments that any of their loves must come at such an unbalanced cost of that of two others. However, she will not be giving up.
So before I launch into the serious bit of this, like the pop-up pirate reference in this really, really tickled me. Prodding the mustachioed man in the barrel or whatever it was it said. It really, I was like, what? But yeah, that was funny. So we get confirmation here that basically what Beatrice wanted Battler to realize is that she wants him to save her from this game of that she's kind of been locked into for whatever reason. We don't really know why Battler would want to save her. We haven't got that bit of truth revealed to us, but with him saying that Beatrice wanted him to carry her off the game board and he thinks he knows how to do that now. So I assume we're going to see that unfold maybe at some point. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's the devastation at the end of the story. Who knows?
This comes in sorry, this is a quick aside, which is who I still suspect might be the mastermind would be Kinzo.
Okay.
And that furniture is furniture because they're still carrying out his wishes despite his post-mortem status.
Okay.
Under some sort of compulsion or the Kumasawa and Nanjo's kids received that potential to get a ton of money. So even though he's dead, he still has her trapped under his thumb. So there's definitely more to it than that, but like that's a leading thought that I have as well, as we're looking for a mastermind, especially if the theory is that they're not getting their hands dirty. They can't because they're dead. It's either that or Kinzo really is just completely out of the story.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I think all the scenes with Kinzo added so much depravity and insanity. I miss it so much. That Shakespearean nonsense. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Dude's batshit, and I'm here for it.
Everyone else misses Beatrice, but you miss Kinzo. Yeah.
I definitely miss Beatrice more, but I got more hope that she's gonna come back. I still think episode 8 is going to be Battler versus Beato again.
Well, which is going to revive.
Somehow, yeah. I mean, the witches can revive if he wins the game.
Oh, man. It's... Yeah. I feel like
shall
this just ends up with more questions than answers. So even though we've got that little bit of an answer of sorts now, it's just opens more questions. Well, like how? And why did he reach that conclusion? And why would he be willing to do that when he all out hated her before? And
what does that even mean to carry her off the game board?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the true important statement in this little bit here is now that I understand what magic is, right? Very similar to Maria. She doesn't care if people die because she knows it's not real. So if you're coming into this with that sort of mentality...
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there's an island full of dead people. So, I don't know.
Is there? All I'm reading are stories.
With any story, I guess you could abstract it out that far if you want to, but yeah.
I was going to say this later, but maybe this is the right place to say this. I was going to say this at the end. I have an extension of my theory on what magic is. And it's because of stuff that's been said between Hachijo and Ange, and now this as well with Battler talking about he understands what magic is, with the whole endless witch thing. So I was in I think a couple of episodes now of the podcast, not of this story. I've mentioned how I feel like magic is like a contract, an agreement of sorts. What I actually think it might be now is like magic is stories, and the agreements that we make are what make those stories come to life. So suspending disbelief.
Okay.
When you engage with a lot of stories, you kind of make an agreement with the author to suspend your disbelief in order to accept the story as it is. Like the trick with the cup and the candy. You know, the agreement is to say the incantation and close your eyes while you're saying it. Otherwise, the magic won't happen. But the magic is like the story of, oh my gosh, like she made a candy appear. That's the story. And the way that story comes to be is like the mechanism of magic is the agreement that you sort of enter into, whether or not you know that you are. Whether or not it is a conscious act, like suspending disbelief. Like, it's not necessarily a thing that you go, okay, I'm going to have to set aside everything I know is real before I go and sit down and watch this movie. Like, you don't do that with yourself. Or most people don't. I don't, generally. So that's yeah. Magic is stories held together by agreements.
Yeah, I can see that.
In the witch's smoking room, Erica reports to Bernkastel the result of her opening exchange of truths with Battler. However, as Lam Delta points out, all she managed to do is get exactly the red truths that Battler wanted to give out and solidify the perfectness of his closed rooms. Chastised, Erica points out that Battler did not refute her theory that the victims could be using a drug like insulin to appear dead, as without the detective's authority, she can't be certain. Without it, no matter how much human skill Erica might have, she could never erase that last bit of possible doubt of a mistake, and in this witch's game, that made it practically worthless. Additionally, without that proclamation, Delanor, as the embodiment of Nox's Decalogue, could also not be used. Bernkastel tells Erica that she can make the proclamation if she wants, but it's clear that Erica has no such option. No, as Bernkastel and Lam Delta say, Battler well and truly won in the last game. This sixth game is just so Battler can have a turn at being the game master and wrap up Beatrice's game respectfully. And that is what infuriates Bernkastel. She didn't come out here to this fragment to see an unsatisfying happy ending. She came here to see Beatrice pathetically torn to bits and trampled on, and Erica's failings in the last game ruined that possibility. Since she didn't have a chance to win, even with the detective's authority, Erica would have to perform a miracle worthy of her master to earn back her favor. This humiliating and impossible-to-win game is Erica's punishment for her failings. Suddenly, Battler cuts in, attempting to defend Erica. He's annoyed that Erica can't fight to her full potential because Bernkastel is preventing her from using the detective's authority. He threatens to kick Bernkastel out of the fragment, but Bernkastel knows that Battler needs an opponent and observers so that he can prove that he fully understands Beatrice's game. Lam Delta says that Battler should deal with Erica and that she will handle Bernkastel. Battler asks Erica to use the detective's proclamation, but she still refuses, unable to go against her master's orders. However, Delanor would be able to use her red key if she were granted some other form of truth on which to base its use. Erica's duct tape seals are one such tool that have already been acknowledged to be on the same level as red truth. Were Battler to allow Erica the use of those seals, Delanor, Gertrude, and Cornelia could use red truth pertaining to them. Battler sighs. While Erica is his enemy, without an opposing player, there could be no game. He would fight his rival ruthlessly, in accordance with the rules. But to hate Erica herself would be to betray the spirit of Beatrice's game. Just as Beatrice had brought in Ronove and Virgilia to help him when he was lost, Battler will empower Erica's allies to assist her. 3 allies, and 3 rooms worth of duct tape seals. In order to keep the tale consistent, the seals would be granted to Erica retroactively, as if the tape Kumasawa had brought her had been usable, with Erica able to retroactively change her moves since then, and with foreknowledge of the locations of the crime. This is an incredibly powerful tool. Erica grits her teeth and says that Battler will regret this. These seals will be his death. However, as he turns to leave, she does manage to give Battler her thanks. This is the final game, for Battler to prove to Beatrice that he has reached the truth. Winning or losing no longer matters. While they may be enemies on the game board, as fellow players, they should trust each other. That is how Beatrice's game is meant to be played. As Battler does actually leave, though, Erica's sniveling quickly turns into a devilish grin. The entire scene, Erica's weakness, and Bernkastel's fury, had all been an act to trick Battler into handing over the tool that would spell his doom. Fruto Erica now has duct tape, and while Delanor may disapprove of being used for deception, she is more disappointed in Battler's foolish arrogance that will certainly prove fatal.
I still can't believe that I'm continuing to veer away from the Battler is incompetent statement that we've literally had as red text.
Yeah.
But I think he kind of offered this knowing that he was being manipulated. I don't know why. That's not based on anything. I guess I'm just hoping above hope that he knows what he's doing. And I'm just kind of annoyed that I do actually like his character now and want him to succeed, even though I don't really know what success is going to look like for anyone. Man, this is the bit that really, Bernkastel really annoyed me. And then to just have it all like, haha, not true. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
Although, to be fair, Bernkastel was like, oh, but seriously though, I am still mad at you. Like she did make it clear a little bit at the end. Like she was not lying about that. Like she is mad at Erica.
Yeah, she did. But it just felt like it was like way too easy for her to be that vicious to Erica as she was during this whole scene. Delanor kind of confirming that it was all a ruse. It was just this felt kind of flat just because of that about turn at the end. And I think that's why I'm latching on to hopefully Battler knows what he's doing for this to have been such a interesting, annoying, emotionally charged scene for it to then be nothing.
I fully agree with you.
Bad.
I am hoping, I am really hoping that there is a turnaround here for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I believe that there will be one.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. To be fair, I had little hope for actually, I don't know how to word this. We all heard me being pretty negative about this story. In fact, I think literally earlier in this recording, I said I hated it. I don't hate it at all. In fact, my opinion of it has increased steadily as we have gone on through the reading, even though I am still a dissenting voice in many ways about the overall thing. I have more faith that it's just things will get even better. And so maybe that's also why I'm clinging on to hope the Balor knows what he's doing. Because so far it's been true. It's been proved true. It's got better. It really has.
Making it better and Battler can also be not know what he's doing, so we'll see.
It is read that he's incompetent, so...
Back in Zepar and Furfur's realm, the twin demons congratulate all three couples for having completed their trials. However, this puts Zepar and Furfur in a pickle, as they had expected at least one couple to have dropped out by this point. And so, for this next trial, at least one will have to fail. Using the second Twilight of the Epitaph as inspiration, collectively the lovers must determine one pair to sacrifice. Chick, Beatrice, and Jessica wish there were some way for everyone to find happiness together. But as George mansplains, this is a zero-sum game. For any one group to win, the others must lose. However, Zepar and Furfur cut in. There does exist such a world where all love can be complete. The Golden Land. But as Battler says, like heaven or hell, the Golden Land is not of this world. George states that he will never accept such an outcome, like a sad lover's double suicide, where they're only united after death. Love has meaning because we find it in this world, and he will see his through alive. Returning back to the topic of the second trial, Zepar and Furfur explain that one of the six must be killed, thus disqualifying one of the pairs of lovers. How the participants choose to determine which of them is to die, be it lottery or duel, Zepar and Furfur leave up to them. The demons did, however, bring all participants down to the same power level, guaranteeing that whatever method they do choose, all would have perfectly even chances of victory. However, this only makes it all the more difficult to find a way to resolve this in a satisfactory manner. Think and fight to the death. Please decide who the sacrifice will be. And that brings us to the end of this week's reading.
How is that fair if Battler's already dead?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, what does this mean in terms of the game board? Like, where are we right now? Like,
that's a fair question.
Like, if Battler is already dead, how can Battler or Beatrice possibly be the sacrifices? So therefore, it must fall on either George and Shannon or Jessica and Kanon. So why aren't they? Why are they saying that they're all on equal footing?
Well, they say only one person has to die. So if suddenly Beatrice shows up and is dead, and everyone's like, "Who the fuck is this chick?"
That would be so fucking funny. The ridiculousness of that would get me.
Mm-hmm. It's a mind bender. What does any of it mean? I don't know.
Like there are some things I've got to suspend disbelief on, like how Jessica and George were just like super chill with being pulled into the metaverse or quasi-metaverse, or wherever they are. And it's just one of the things that you just kind of have to accept because the story ain't going to stop.
Yeah, but it's clearly very important to whatever the story is trying to say, so we'll have to keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's wild to me that we're now 2/3 of the way through this episode and we're only now about to reach the second Twilight.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fifth game only got to the second Twilight, so...
Yeah, so I wonder if it's going to be something like that, which the prologue of episode 6 seemed to allude to it, that Battler trapped himself in some way, or if it was going to be more like the blitz to the end, like what happens in episode 3?
I think more 4 has like a suddenly everyone starts dying real fast.
Yeah.
Kill them all.
Oh, yeah.
Make everyone die.
Well, in the end, that seems to be where everything ends.
Go.
Well, the
go,
island.
Go.
Leave only seagulls.
When they cry, the game is over.
Yeah.
Because their habitat's been destroyed. George, oh my God, why George? I'm so glad you described it as mansplaining, because that line,
That made me laugh, yeah.
when he explains what a zero-sum game is, I'm like, come on, dude, why do you not have any faith in the people in this room right now?
I mean,
what
to
are
be fair,
you doing?
he actually did ask. He was like, do you know what a zero-sum game is? An economic term. And they said no. Like, it wasn't literally
Yeah.
mansplaining, but like...
I suppose.
Also, Jessica is canonically not a good student.
Yeah, that is also
I
true.
suppose. But if you think about it for, like, even a second.
Yeah.
Jessica is all personality and no smarts, and George is all smarts with very little personality.
I don't think that's fair to Jessica. I think she's very smart. I just think she's She fits the analogy of you can't test a fish on its ability to climb a school or to climb a tree.
Yeah,
You know?
like smarts as in like the stuff you would
Studies.
get from school.
Yeah.
She has an insane amount of charisma, but yeah. I just meant like smarts as in school smarts versus being smart in general.
Jessica's
Yeah.
clearly street smart.
She's got a band. I'll be, right? I don't know if that's true or not. I've never been in a band. Don't want to. It's probably for the best for the world, but I would be.
Don't be in bands.
Yeah.
Never do it.
What a read. What a read.
Yeah. I mean, as I've been reading this, I've been like, no, I was correct. Episode 6 is my favorite. Although I feel like every episode we get to is my new favorite just because like I'm getting to see it in a new light because of the way we're handling this, right? I enjoy every part we read more and more.
I bet you appreciate taking your time with it as well.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since because back when I originally read it, like I sped through this, and even in rereads, I would often like speed through it. So I've never really taken a lot of time to like sit with a lot of the story elements. So it's been very interesting.
Do you sit down and go through the reading fresh and like make your notes fresh, or do you have like some sort of summary tool that you're using?
No, I read and I take screenshots and I summarize as I go. It takes me roughly 2 to 3 times the length of the reading to do all that. I put a lot of shit ton of time for this podcast.
That's commitment.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's worth it though, because I really enjoy the summaries that we get for these. I think I like having them as an artifact of this podcast.
Yeah. It's awesome. Seriously, it's so much work, but it's so. I am finding that I am so grateful to you for creating these things that I can go back and look at. Because sometimes I'll get to a point in the story and I'm like, wait, what happened there? I think this was in X part, and I just go and look for your summary to confirm what I'm thinking, right? And it's fantastic.
I'm glad you're
It
enjoying
really
it.
is. I really am. I know I do shit on it, but I actually really am.
No, yeah, that was my impression as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. Oh man.
Yep, we're getting near the end. I think we've got 2 episodes left to finish off episode 6.
2 chapters to finish episode 6. Episode 6 is whole. We've had this conversation. How many
2 more
times
podcast
now?
episodes to finish episode 6. Yeah.
We have 6 more YouTube videos.
Yeah,
no, I think we only have 2 more YouTube videos. Oh no, in the readings. Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
Even more. Thanks, or we had another confusing later. That
Isn't each YouTube video like a chapter of the actual?
Usually they are. Yeah.
Oh
I'm
man.
not sure if it's always that way, but usually
The next reading is 4 hours. My gosh.
Yep. So next week, we'll be reading about 4 hours of the VN, ending on the line, "His howl had no voice and could be heard by no one. However, it still rang out through the cathedral." And that is videos 105 through 107 of the YouTube playlist.
Good. I'm excited. We need more of the cathedral and its secrets.
Yeah.
I want more of the shed. Why can't we get more of the shed?
Hey, who's to say we won't?
We've only had the shed twice, and a lot of people have died in there or been moved into there.
That's true.
We've had 1 shed, yes. What about second shed?
I want second shed. That sounds like what a dog does during the summer. Like you have shed 1 and then you have shed 2.
Yeah, shit.
The sequel to Shed.
I hope it carries on in the way that episode 6 carries on in the way it has been, because this has so far skyrocketed it to the top of my list. I suppose that's spoilers for message polls, but I think this has been amazing. It's been so good.
Episode 6, you mean?
Yeah.
Where's this reading going to leave us off at? I just want to check quick. 105, is it? The end of this one?
Yeah, this is 10. No, this is going to leave us
107.
107.
His howl had no voice and could be heard by no one.
Well, it's very reminiscent of if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it howl?
That's true.
Woo.
It also makes me just think about the very opening to episode 1. Beatrice! Like, is that a howl? Is this Kinzo? Is that what we're getting?
If we were to cast ourselves in the play, I would absolutely want to be Kinzo, even though I know I wouldn't get much screen time. God, that'd be fun. I've already got the hair for it.
I don't know who I would want to be.
Oh my goodness.
No, I
this
hate
next
them
part
all.
has. Oh god. Every single part of this is so good. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop so y'all can go read.
Oh, I plan to go read.
Who would I cast Hayley as?
I want to be Virgilia, I think.
But you'd be good for Jill. Honestly, I think you could pull off a Beato. And then probably third pick Natsuhi.
Oh, I don't like Natsuhi. I wouldn't enjoy playing Natsuhi.
No?
No. Beato is a good call, but like, because I enjoy it, but I don't know that I could do her justice.
All right.
I do like
We'll make-
Virgilia a lot. I would actually love to be Kumasawa, truly. And just make bad jokes.
You could make the same actress play both roles and just change the costume and makeup, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we'll look forward to Off Meta's next project where we put on the Umineko stage play. Yeah.
We're gonna cast Kyle as the Golden Witch, as he already is, self-proclaimed.
Perfect. He is Beatrice, and then moves on to being Ava, and then whoever the Golden Witch actually is.
Yeah.
And Ben, very easy. Ben, you will be Jessica.
Yeah, the role I was born to play.
Because you're street smarts, yeah.
And Nanjo.
Don't typecast the man.
What?
Oh,
No,
boy.
Jessica and Nanjo. I just feel like that'd be a fun
change,
combo.
Just change the costume and makeup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. An off-meta production.
For Nanjo, I just keep the entire costume on, but I put on glasses.
Or just
Yeah.
change the wig. You change your
Love
wig.
it.
That's all it is.
It's perfect.
All right, we've gone off the rails. Thank you for joining us.
But you already said that's what the people want. They love when we get off the rails.
Not this late in the episode, they don't. No. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed listening to our theories. I'm really excited for y'all to get to this next bit of the story. We're entering some of my favorite parts of episode 6, although every part we read is my favorite part of the story, it seems like. So I hope you enjoy, and remember to think off meta.